Well, just as we said, Kenya's government debt is rising, and the World Bank and IMF say that's risky. They recently put Kenya on a list of 18 countries that they say are at high risk of debt distress. Now, that means that while the country doesn't currently face any repayment difficulties, one or more debt indicators are above acceptable levels. Our reporter Daniel Ryntjes spoke to Kenya's central bank governor, Patrick Njoroge, last week at the spring meetings of the World Bank and IMF. He started by asking him about Kenya's innovative mobile-only government bond called Makiba.
Makiba was a specific project that allows investors, any person in Kenya who's registered appropriately, to buy treasury bills for as little as $30 worth of treasury bills. And you can see, and this is all using your mobile phone. It will be transformational in terms of savings. So that is an important element. But I think the issue here is also there are lessons about design, like everything else. So that is really where we've been working, improving the design so that it is easier for customers and things like that. So we are still going to be, we will be using this more and more. I think so far it has been, we were trying to learn from it, a test and learn kind of thing before now going sort of regularly into the market using it. We have had a lot of excitement from other countries that also want to follow in our footsteps. And I think it is something that we'll be seeing more and more in other countries.
But the World Bank has introduced a list of 18 countries in sub-Saharan Africa that it believes are at high risk of debt distress. Do you agree with that assessment?
I do not agree with that, so I would need to see what exactly they mean by saying that Kenya is in high debt distress, or maybe they're saying risk of high debt distress. I don't know. I need to be clear exactly what is it that they say. However, we recently did do the sort of a debt sustainability analysis, and we've generally been in the low risk of debt distress. And we've come closer to the threshold. And so we are now quite close to the threshold, and that's why we make the point that there is limited headroom for additional debt. And we need to look at other means of financing our expenditures. But the point for us is that the debt is something that we need to deal with anyways.
We've had this long period, haven't we, of low interest rates globally. But there is the concern that with inflation maybe beginning to bubble up, interest rates are going to spike. Does that pose for you in Kenya a potential problem moving forward in terms of managing those debts?
From our perspective, the implications are, as you say, first in terms of our external debt that is indexed, or should we say has floating rates. And I think the point there is that it connects with the issue of debt sustainability. But we do understand that the rates won't go up that high. We won't go back to our previous 7% and 10% and things like that. However, the difference is that we have now borrowed more non-concessional debt. In the past, we had a lot more concessional debt at highly concessional terms. So we need to be much more careful. There's no doubt about it. And we need to use all the means that are with us in terms of managing our debt. And I think there's a whole range of instruments that need to be used. There's no going around the issue of being prudent. Fiscal prudence in terms of even borrowing and all that should be more and more, let's say, is much more important, more and more important as we go forward today and in the future.